Welcome to the ISO Show, dispelling myths and sharing tips for success to improve your business with ISO standards, with your host, Mel Blackmore.
Welcome everybody. Thank you very much for joining me today. I'm your host, Mel Blackmore, and I'm here to help you to raise standards and also to share tips for success. So over the last few episodes, in fact numbers 137 and 138, we've been talking about routes to ESOS compliance. That's the Energy Saving Opportunity Scheme, which is all about identifying and reducing your energy and the costs associated. But how do you make a business case? You know that it makes sense to optimise your energy management. You know it's going to help to reduce CO2 emissions and costs. But if you had to put a business case together to prove it, where would you actually begin? So a lot of the companies that we speak to, they have some great ideas and the enthusiasm is there, but they really need a strong business case to get it over the line. By the end of this episode, you'll have a clear understanding of the benefits of ISO 50001 and some real-life examples that you can use to make ISO 50001 a reality and not just a nice idea. So let's get to it. So some of the benefits of ISO 50001 include cost savings. I'm going to jump straight into it. I know that obviously this is great for the environment, but at the end of the day, businesses need to make a profit. And with ISO 50001, we've seen some significant cost reductions, both for our clients, and there are many case studies out there as well. And that's because it really does help to improve energy efficiency. So automatically by reducing your energy consumption and basically optimizing best use of energy, it can lead to cost savings. It can also help to improve compliance. So ESOS is one example of an area of compliance. We've also got SECR, which is all about reporting on carbon. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world, there will be some type of reporting legal requirements that you have to comply with in place now. And if they aren't in place now, they will be coming. And of course, in terms of the benefits to the environment, it does help to reduce your carbon emissions. And basically, it's a really complementary tool to ISO 14001, which is a standard that you may already have in place. And it basically helps. What we found is that a lot of businesses will have different methods of managing energy within a company, but it's not really very well coordinated. You haven't got overall visibility and transparency on what actually takes place. So having an energy management system really does help to coordinate all of your energy programs together. So whether that's an energy production, renewable energy project, or alternative energy, and just, basic processes that people have to follow. So there are lots of different ways that businesses are starting to get involved with energy management, but there isn't really a holistic methodology for coordination and the management of that. It can also be a great mechanism to facilitate any external financial incentives as well. So whether that's your utility services for electricity, third-party financing, insurance, tax benefits as well. So we all know about the tax benefits from, electric cars and that sort of thing. So there are lots of other incentives financially for businesses to be able to adopt better energy management practices. And I think with that, there has also been quite a lot of funding available for organisations to adopt energy efficient technology, resources and services. So it's really worthwhile being able to identify what your carbon footprint is now, how much energy you're using, and then look at alternative technology to be able to help you to reduce that and to get access to the funding to enable you to do that. So it helps you to track and monitor your objectives. So if you say that you're going to be reducing your energy consumption by X and carbon emissions by X. You need to have solid objectives in place, and you need to have processes and controls to help you to be able to make that a reality. So by having this system in place, it just really provides you with that recipe, to be able to use it time and time again so that you can see how you're progressing as an organisation. And last but not least, it does help your credibility as an organisation. So it can help to enhance your reputation if you are practicing what you preach. So we all know that with ISO standards, having the third-party certification can really help to demonstrate that trust and credibility with your key stakeholders. And obviously it's something that you can use on marketing materials, whether that's on your website or proposals and that sort of thing. So they're just a few of the benefits that you could include within a case study. But what have other companies done? I think sometimes it's all well and good having like a checklist of benefits, but unless you see some of the hard facts on what other companies have actually done and the results that have been derived, it's still a bit of a grey area. So I'd like to highlight a few organisations. These are global brands, by the way, that you've heard of, that have adopted ISO 50001 and what some of those results have been. And by the way, you don't have to be a large global brand to implement ISO 50001. It's any organisation where energy is the most significant environmental aspect. So it's what is the biggest thing, but what's the main damage that you're doing to the environment? And more often than not, it's one of the biggest costs as well. So the first company is Hilton. So you've no doubt heard of Hilton, one of the largest hotel chains across the world. And they were the first global hospitality company to achieve a portfolio-wide certification to ISO 50001. And what were the results? Well, the savings have been significant. They've helped to reduce Hilton's energy intensity by 20.6% and its carbon intensity by 30%. Okay, now that is from the baseline that they had before they implemented it. And as you know, that certification is valid for 3 years. And this is then obviously monitored on an annual basis when you have your annual surveillance visits. The next example is Bentley. So Bentley implemented 50001 to help to reduce energy usage. And they basically wanted to reduce their energy usage by 2/3 for each car produced. That's 2/3 for each car produced. That is massive. If you can think about the overhead cost for an organisation, think about reducing the energy cost by 2/3. It is massive. But they have been able to implement a very sophisticated energy monitoring system. They have targeted areas specifically and created strategies for improvement in specific areas, covering the use of their boiler and compressed air systems, through to introducing technology and doing, the things that most businesses should be doing, which is better control of things like heating and lighting and insulation. And also to provide more efficient variable speed drives on new cars that they produced. So overall, I just want to highlight that number again. So Bentley reduced their energy by 2/3 for each car produced, and also 14% overall for the entire plant, which had helped to deliver savings of 230 gigawatts of energy, enough to power 11,500 houses for a year. That's enough energy to power 11,500 houses a year. Another company is Hitachi. So following the Japanese earthquake disaster in 2011, Hitachi decided to introduce the Smart Next Generation Factory Plan. And they based this on 50001. And following the implementation, the plant reduced their energy by 23% and 15% on CO2 emissions. And in terms of cost savings, they saved 5 million yen a month in electricity costs. So moving on to Toyota. So this is Toyota South Africa. They implemented ISO 50001, and that resulted in reduction in electricity usage, which has translated into cost savings of 4.8 million rand. So that is quite significant. In UK terms, that's about 220,000 K over a 2-year period. So that helped to save energy costs across 14 plants and reduced its GHG emissions by almost 8,000 tonnes as well. And last but not least, Schneider Electric. So Schneider adopted 50,001 certification in order to maximise energy performance. And following certification, the business's energy performance increased by 10.5%, with a total savings of £26,500. So again, more significant savings there. So hopefully you'll be able to take some of these examples back to your organisation's board or the leadership team to demonstrate that this could potentially be quite a valuable investment for your organisation and of course help you to meet your sustainability agenda as well. So that's all from me. I hope you found that useful. If you've had any insights or you find that this podcast has been beneficial for you, please do leave us a nice shiny 5-star review on whichever podcast player you listen to. It really does help us to get this podcast out to a wider audience if you leave those reviews. And yeah, although I love doing these podcasts, it would be great if we can get them out to even more people across the world, and especially when we're talking about topics like this with energy management, where we can make a difference if we can share those comments as well. So thank you once again for listening, and don't forget that resources on 50,001 are over in the Isology Hub. That's ISOLOGY hub.com, and you'll be able to get access to all of our resources 24/7. Thanks very much for listening, and I look forward to catching up with you on the next ISO show.
Looking to use ISO standards to drive better business practice? Contact us at blackmoresuk.com to access further information and book your free 15-minute call.